Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 2. My name is Muhammad Saifuddin, and today we're gonna present our system UTM ITS 2.0. So the overview for our project is, as we know, the current system is really helpful for students to go through it, but it's nowhere near perfect. Changes are inevitable as we progress toward the years. We have detected a couple problems for the current ITS as it's still relying on manual database, so it's prone to the data loss and human error that will cause a problem for the student to complete their industrial training. This only account for the manual process, as the online error may also occur while using the industrial training. To ensure that it will bring great experience with the user, either the company or the student, our team have conducted a couple of research about the system, and we managed to detect a couple problems that may be despite the user experience, and we have tried to provide a few solutions to tackle this problem. For our new improved system, we see it to be more helpful to the student compared to the previous ITS, as during the registration process, the user will not now have to enter any information, as the information will be extracted from the INS. But if a user want to update information, they still can. While during the application process, the user will not have to enter any duplicate data, as the data will be extracted from the ITS database and autofill the application. Not only that, a system also autosave the data that in the ITS, so that user can use the data wherever they need it to, but to bother to type any type of data again. As for the acceptance, rejection and withdrawal process, as we know, the previous version of the ITS rely on manual, but our system are fully digitalized, so it's more sustainable against data loss. Ultimately, we want to reduce the work burden and solving the industrial training management for both the student, company, and JKI.
Based on the interview with one of the industrial training committee, Dr. Nis, we have managed to identify the problems and upgrades needed with the current industrial training system. In the interview, Dr. Nis mentioned multiple times that the main weakness of this current system is that almost everything is done manually. She also elaborated about the issue which that lecturer must manually filter students who do not qualify for industrial training. The second problem statement is that there is no platform for organizations or companies to advertise their internship vacancies in this current ITS. Based on Dr. Nis, companies do not have access to the system provided UTM other than to do log booking. This will become inconvenient for students as they will have to seek internship vacancies through separate platforms like JobStreet, My Future Jobs, and etc. Not only that, but it will be also inconvenient for the Industrial Training Committee to manually collect information from vacancy websites and insert it into the existing ITS. The third problem statement is that current method requires students to physically fill out all necessary forms on paper. For example, the BLI-2A form and the BLI-1C form. Not only this method is not eco-friendly, but many issues can also occur, such as duplication of information and loss of forms. Handling hundreds of applications every semester can be overwhelming for the committee if every form is checked manually. The final problem statement is that JKLI must update company pool manually. Every semester, the Industrial Training Committee manually updates the pool of companies and organizations in the current ITS. Certain companies get blacklisted from UTM while some companies may change the details of their company. It can be a hassle if this has to be done repetitively every semester. So, as a summary, we approached Dr. Nis on how the current ITS can be improved. Therefore, I will pass Izzat to further explain our proposed solution.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Isar and I will be explaining the proposed solution. So for the first proposed solution is to decrease the use of physical forms to get students' information. Our system can extract users' personal information and academic information from UTM existing AIMS website. The second proposed solution is to automatically filter students' qualification to check whether they are qualified for industrial training or not. All forms will be filled by students virtually. The forms will also be submitted to the committee within the app. And the last proposed solution is to allow companies and organizations to advertise their vacancies on their own. So for the objectives, we have 5 main objectives. The first objective is to alleviate the complexity of the manual process that is currently applied by the system. The second objective is to adopt a whole new automatic system that eases users from start to end. The third objective is to speed up the process altogether, as well as reducing any lagging that may occur during usage. The fourth objective is to create a more user-friendly interface for any potential user. And the last objective is to be able to receive and send information as quickly as possible.
The system stakeholder of our system, which will be our main user, is our client is UTM's Faculty of Computing of University Technology Malaysia.
Hello, I am Kaisara binti Badri Sham, and today I will be explaining a bit about our DFD level 0. So let's take a look at our DFD. This is our DFD. It is made up of 5 processes, which is student registration, student application, student acceptance, student withdrawal, and student rejection. Okay, so the first we have student registration. This process is mainly automated. So this is where AIMS will extract student info from AIMS, and student will be automatically registered into the database. So this process is fairly simple, and this is where we have made changes into the current system. Okay, next we have the 2.0, which student application. So this is where student will gain information about the LI company, and they will have to make a decision on which company to choose and send in their application towards that company, as well as send the updated application to the ITS student database. Okay, so next we have student acceptance into the LI company. This process, 3.0 process, is where LI company will then reply to the application we did earlier that they have accepted the student application. So LI company will contact the student. The student will then have to send a proof of acceptance to JKLI. So next we have student withdrawal. This happens in the case where student does not want to, they have already been accepted by a company but does not want to proceed with their internship, or due to various reasons. So the student will then submit a withdrawal letter to the LI company, and as well as submit a proof of withdrawal to JKLI. So this process is fairly straightforward. Lastly, we have the process of rejection. This process is similar to acceptance, where LI company will send a rejection letter, and then student will have to send a proof of rejection to JKLI. But this differs from acceptance, where after they send the proof, they will now have the opportunity to reapply to a different company. So they will have a new application. They will have a process of reapplication in this process. So that is all for the level 0 DFD. That's all for me. Thank you.
Let's proceed to the chart diagram and the flow of the user interface. This is the chart diagram for process 1, and we can see from here, when you log in the ITS, it will extract the data from AIMS, and the user will validate the data of the student information, and after that the user need to visually validate the data itself, and if the user validates the data as correct, it will format the student information and input back to AIMS, and at the same time it will input to the ITS database. So this is the user interface for the process 1. This is the login. During this process, the user need to enter their username and the password. It also has the forget password option, And after the user enter the data and press login, we go to the home page. And this is the user student profile. As we can see here, the data is already been displayed and there also an optional data. This is because this data already be extracted by AIMS, and this is the other data are data that can be updated by the students themselves if they want to change any kind of information. And after press the update, this system will register back to AIMS and the ITS database. Let's proceed to the next slide.
Hi everyone, now I will be discussing the child diagram for process 2.0, which is application. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we go. So the child diagram starts by an input of registered student details. And then a student will have to fill in the application form, which I will show the GUI later. So after application form, the student have to check the company, whether the company is verified by JKLI or not. So if the company is verified, then the submission will occur. But if the company is not verified, student will have to fill in the application form again and submit a new company that the student wants to join. Okay, so after submitting the application to LI company, you will get a proof of application. Proof of application, you would have to send the proof of application to JKLI. Download the proof and as well as send to JKLI. Okay, so now let's look at the interface. So over here is the application form that the student needs to fill in. So we have name, metric number, IC number, chosen company, the company that student wants to apply for internship, as well as upload unnecessary document. Necessary document is documents such as their CGPA records, their yearly records. You will get this document in the AIMS database. So you upload and then you will press verify, which leads to our second interface, which is the verification status. So verification status, this is the verification status for the verified system, meaning the company is in the company pool that is approved by JKLI. So then you would press continue. But if your company is not approved, so this will show up. Yeah, verified status, not verified. So then you have to go back, the button back, which will lead you back to the application form. So if you press continue like just now, it would lead you to application form submission. So you press the button submit, and this form will be submitted to the system lah. Okay, and then the lastly is after submission, you will get proof of submission. So this is the proof of submission where you can download and send in to JKLI after you have completed the process of application. So that's all for application. Thank you.
So for the child diagram level 1 for process 3.0, as you can see, there are three main data that are entering process 3.0. The first is students' information gathered from external website. The second one is LI approval status, and the last one is application approved email. And after students' information has been gathered, the company will update. And after receiving LI approval status, the students will then fill in the BLI 1C form, and then they may update the Google Sheet checklist. And after they update the Google Sheet checklist, they may send application letter with BLI 2A form. And after receiving application approved email, they may follow up application and then send proof of acceptance. And then they may begin the acceptance process application, which registered company into acceptance process application with updated company information. They then cross-check company information, and then they may send they send latest company information to registered company information. And students may also reject the acceptance process. And this is the interface wireframe for acceptance email page. As you can see, they have two emails. First is from the LI approval status, and the second one is from the JKLI approval status. And for the LI approval status, they may send you an email such as like this. And then after receiving the LI approval, the students may then fill in the BLI 1C form, and the BLI 1C form may look like this, and students may update and send the BLI 1C form. And this is now the JKLI approval status. The JKLI approval status may look like this, and students, after receiving the JKLI approval status, they may fill in the BLI 2A form, which look like this. Students may update and send the BLI 2A form. And after they have sent the BLI, after they have sent the form, they may have the proof of submission. That is all.
Explain the process for. This is the chart diagram for the process 4.0. From this, the student will request the withdrawal letter, and they will fill in information in the withdrawal report form. So, the withdrawal report form will be displayed, and they need to visually validate the data, and after that, it will be sent to be validated. It fulfill the requirement for the JKI and the company. If it fulfill the JKI requirement, it will be created and shared to the JKI. And if it fulfill the company requirement, it will generate and be shared to the company. So I will proceed to the interface. This is the first interface for the process 4.0. First, they need to fill in the withdrawal letter. And this, after that, they will click submit. And if the data that generated fulfill the requirement, it will display like this. For the JKI, it will display the withdrawal letter has been accepted and been notified to the JKI. This means that the proof has been sent to the JKI. And this is the interface. If the form is fulfill the company requirement, it will generate the withdrawal letter, and it will display the letter like this. And the student need to confirm this by submitting. And after the submitting, it will display that the letter has been sent to the company. That's all for the withdrawal process. Let's proceed to the next process. Explain the process for. This is the chart diagram for the process 4.0. From this, the student will request the withdrawal letter, and they will fill in information in the withdrawal report form. So, the withdrawal report form will be displayed, and they need to visually validate the data, and after that, it will be sent to be validated. It fulfill the requirement for the JKI and the company. If it fulfill the JKI requirement, it will be created and shared to the JKI. And if it fulfill the company requirement, it will generate and be shared to the company. So I will proceed to the interface. This is the first interface for the process 4.0. First, they need to fill in the withdrawal letter. And this, after that, they will click submit. And if the data that generated fulfill the requirement, it will display like this. For the JKI, it will display the withdrawal letter has been accepted and been notified to the JKI. This means that the proof has been sent to the JKI. And this is the interface. If the form is fulfill the company requirement, it will generate the withdrawal letter, and it will display the letter like this. And the student need to confirm this by submitting, and after the submitting, it will display that the rule letter has been sent to the company. That's all for the window process. Let's proceed to the next process.
I will now be explaining the child diagram level 1 for process 5.0, which is the rejection process. The input of this process is new chosen company. After students have entered their chosen company to apply to, the LI organization reject students' application, which is automated, which is process 5.1. The outcome of this project is rejection of application, which will be the input for process 5.2, where student must obtain proof of rejection from LI organization, which is also automated. The next process is 5.3, where student sends proof of rejection to JKLI, which is students have to send the proof of rejection to the JKLI. Then JKLI will have to verify the student's rejection proof, and then the rejection proof will also be stored in the data store, the student application data store. Next, the 5.4 process, students have to reapply to a new LI company. The new application will also be stored in the student application. The outcome of this whole process is that student will get a new LI application. I will now explain the interface form of the rejection process. After students have logged in into the system, they will be guided into this homepage where students can click on home for navigation purposes, company to view the company pool, contact is to view all the necessary contact informations, and help will guide users to the user manual on how to use the whole system. If we click on home, it will directly show us to the navigation page, which will have the options for application form, the placement form, rejection form, and withdrawal form. Firstly, student will get a rejection notification from the LI company or organization, which can be found in the messenger part of our system. And then after student click on the message itself will appear here. This is one of the example of the rejection letter, which means that the student's application is rejected by the company. Therefore, students have to go through all the rejection process, which first they will have to fill out a rejection form. They will have to fill out all the details of themselves, and also upload the proof of their rejection. They will have to upload it here and click the checkbox and submit the rejection form. After the submission have been successful, a message will appear that says, please wait for a verification notification from JKLI. Reapplication will only be allowed once JKLI have validated the rejection form. This means that students will have to wait for the JKLI approval in order for them to proceed with reapplication. This is what it looks like to have the JKLI rejection form approval. After students have clicked on the message, this will appear. After the JKLI have agreed and gave the green light to to proceed with reapplication, student will have to fill out the reapplication form. So that is all for the rejection process.